In this video, I want to share with you 5 things that should always be done after installing Proxmox. And if you are not sure what Proxmox is or how to install it, we have a dedicated video covering that, so please watch that one first. But I'm assuming you've now installed Proxmox and you just wonder what to do next. And the fact is, regardless of what you plan to run on your Proxmox server, there are 5 essential steps I always follow for every setup, unless that setup is for testing or experimenting, I mean. Because these steps are either necessary for Proxmox to function properly, or they are designed to make your life easier simply. So let's get started. This is fresh install of my Proxmox VE, and the first step is pretty obvious one. That's because if you just log on to your server, you can already see what I might have been talking about. It says no valid subscription. You do not have a valid subscription for this server. And you know what? It's fine. Yes, I don't have subscription, but every new build, every new server you configure, by default will use so-called enterprise subscription. And yes, of course, you can purchase enterprise subscription, but I don't think, as a home user, that's what you really want to do. For us, home users, the first things we should do is to go to that repositories. I mean, on the left, here you've got data center, yes? And under the data center, you've got so-called nodes. By default, the node is called PVE, I didn't change that name. And selecting that node, you can now go to those repositories. And this is where you can change them. And you can see we've got Enterprise Proxmox Debian PVE, yes? We want to disable it because we don't have a valid key for that. We didn't purchase enterprise support. But what we can do, we can add, I have to click that again, we can add the so-called no subscription repository. And it says it's for testing and non-production use, and it's fine. I've never had any problems with no subscription repository configured. I will add that, and now look at the top. It says you get updates for Proxmox VE, which is cool. We can go now to these updates. I say refresh. Oh, sorry, I tried to be too quick. You can see what the problem is. We've got also Ceph, Squid, and you might have other repositories that have to be updated as well. If we go back, you can see here we still have Enterprise, yes? Sorry, I was trying to be too quick with that. We disable that as well, and you can also add if you want. There are subscriptions for Ceph. As you can see, Ceph, Squid, no subscription. You can add that. We simply have to make sure that there are no Enterprise subscriptions enabled. You can see this one is disabled, this one is disabled. Yes, now it should be fine. We go to updates, we do refresh, and now it should work. Let's wait for a while, and now we can see task OK. That's what we want to see. That's perfect. And the last thing to do, I think it's always, when we do not have any virtual machines, any LXC containers, I think that's the great point to also run upgrade. This button will run so-called apt-dist upgrade, which will simply pull all the new packages for our Proxmox. I just have to say yes, and we just wait. That might take a while, and this will simply make our Proxmox up to date. As you can see, it says "Sim you installed kernel update. Please consider rebooting." And when is the best time to reboot it? Right now, yes? When our Proxmox is just freshly installed and nothing else is running. So I say reboot. We can see disconnecting. We have to wait for it. It shouldn't take long. The Proxmox is rebooting now. Now it says OK. So if I refresh it, I don't know if you noticed, but we had Proxmox version 9.03, and now we have version 9.0.11. This command simply pulled the latest version of everything, including the Proxmox VE itself. Which is great, that's what we need. That's the first step completed. We've got repositories configured, and we've got Proxmox up to date. Now the second step. You have already seen one thing that might be pretty annoying. Let me log out and log in again. If I log in, it still says you do not have valid subscription for this server. Well, yes, I use that no subscription repository, so basically every single time I log on, I will get this message. But I'm using no subscription and I am okay with that, but I don't want to see it every single time. It's also called nag message sometimes. What we can do, we can press, I mean this is Opera and I am on Mac, so it will depend on what device you are on, but for me it's Command Option I. That will open the developer tools, and this basically will tell you more about what is displayed here. And we can see that the source files are that QR code and proxmoxlib.javascript. And we want to amend this proxmoxlib JavaScript to get rid of this message. I mean, if it's not annoying for you, it's fine, you can leave it as it is. But I always remove that message. I don't want to see it every time I log on to my Proxmox server. And you have to find this proxmoxlib. You can use find command, but I can simply show you where it is. I say OK, hopefully for the last time. I will not see that message anymore. We go to shell, still being in the node, yes, selecting node. I say cd user share javascript proxmox widget toolkit. And if I run lsl, this is the file we are interested in, proxmoxlib.javascript.js. But what I would do first, I would copy it. I say copy proxmox.js, yes, proxmoxlib.js, and I make copy, I will call it proxmoxlib.js.backup. So if I run lsl now, we've got backup of this file just in case if something goes wrong, yes? And now I want to change this file a little bit. I say nano proxmoxlib.js. I press enter. Here it's a very long file, but you can see here Ctrl F is where is. It's simply a search option. So I press Ctrl F and now I can search for checked_command. And I press enter. You can see this line that says check command function orig_cmd. And what I want to do here, after this curly bracket, I press enter, I press space now until I am at the same level at this Proxmox utils below, and now I say basically that, orig_cmd. And parentheses. And now semicolon. We simply call this function right now. I don't want to go too deep into it. You don't have to worry about... I don't want you to, if you don't know about programming anything, you should still be fine. You just press enter, press space again until you are at the same level, and you say return. And also semicolon. What this basically will do, it uses that command, that function, but it calls this function and returns right here. So it basically just loops quickly here, and it doesn't go any further. Which means it doesn't perform any checks what subscription I might have or might not have, because I'm not interested in that. And now, when this file looks like that, I say Ctrl O, Enter, Ctrl X. Now this file is saved. I can even check that, like a cat proxmox lib.js. I say grep check command. You don't have to do that. It's just to show you something. You can ignore that. And then I say dash after maybe 2 lines and before 2 lines. And we can see this is what it should look like. This is correct. Okay, let me clear that. And we can also run systemctl restart PVE proxy. I believe the change might work even without it, to be honest, but just to make sure, we run this command, then we are sure we restarted. PVE proxy is basically this. Whatever is displayed here, that's a PVE proxy service responsible for displaying this entire page, yes? And now, don't wait here, you just click somewhere else and go back to shell. And you can see this shell. We can use up arrow, and I say status. We can see the proxy is running, PVE proxy is running. It's running for 40 seconds already. That means, well, let me show you something. If I log out now and log back in, you say, Marek, so didn't work, did it? Well, it did work. Now it's only the problem with the browser itself, because it remembers the old file. So what you can do, you should be able to simply copy it, just close that window, open another window, paste again, and if you do that, well, I'm back in, so if I log out, log in again. Oh, now there is no nag message. But if just opening new tab didn't work, you can try to clear entire cache, browser cache. Or you can try simply using different browser. Or you can even try using incognito mode in your browser. Because you might be pretty sure you did everything right. It's simply your browser still remembering the old file, yes? It doesn't pull a new file, it still uses the old file. And this information has to be refreshed. But that's cool. We don't have any more nag messages. I know I don't have valid subscription, I use non-subscription repository and I'm happy with that, so I don't need this message to remind me about it every time I log on. Alright, next step. And the next step is if we go to summary, this is a default information that is displayed. I can see I've got the processor with 4 cores, but we can make this page to display more information. Specifically, I'm interested in temperatures. I want to see what are the temperatures of my processor and any other temperatures if available. And we can use a website from Miliox. I mean, it's his GitHub repo and it's called PVE mods. So if you go to that web page and if we scroll down here, you can see what it does. Have a look at all those temperatures displayed right here in the summary page. I want to have it too. And the only thing I have to do really is to just scroll further, and here it is, install. Instructions to be performed as root, which is fine. Some of them are comments, they're really just 3 or 4 commands. But we can copy it all using these little squares. I copy it, all this information here, and I just go to my Proxmox, to the shell, and I paste them. I say paste, and press enter. The LM Sensors package is being installed, and now we've got some questions here. Do you want to scan for the memory controllers, CPUs, blah blah blah? By default, it says yes, and I'm fine with that, so I just press enter. Now it asks, it has some embedded sensors, do you want to scan for sensors? Yes, I just press enter, because I'm happy with most of those answers. Here is no, chosen by default, I just press enter, yes? Here we've got yes, by default chosen, so I press enter, 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 enter. It asks if temperatures for all cores or average per CPU. By default is for all cores, yes, that's fine, press enter. Temperatures Celsius or Fahrenheit. For me it's Celsius, but if you want to change to Fahrenheit, you have to do it now and choose F option, yes, like that. But I'm happy with Celsius, so I either type C or it's capital letter anyways, which means it's default choice. So I press enter. Enter, and here detecting system information. Looks like detects as 2 different types, but the first one has serial number, second one doesn't have serial number, only says default string. I will choose that first one maybe. So whatever is closer to what you actually have as a hardware. And it says restarting PVE proxy again, which means, again, you shouldn't be waiting here, you just click somewhere else, because it will never refresh that page, and then go back to shell. And that's cool. If you go now to summary, you say, again, Marek, nothing changed, yes? No, that's not true. It changed again, but again, it's my browser still using old information. So I just copy it, I just close this tab, open another one, and now, magically, it changed everything. Because now I can see the temperatures of my processor. For this mini PC it doesn't show much more, but sometimes you get temperatures of your hard drives, SSD drives and many more. But for this particular model, I'm happy with that. I've got the temperatures of my CPU, which is the most important information for me anyways. And that's cool. Yes, that's basically it. Let's go to the next step. And the next step you should always check, because you might be wondering why performance of your Proxmox is not really what you would expect. And what sometimes happens is simply your interface, like physical interface that you connect your Proxmox to your network, negotiated wrong speed for your network card. What I mean, if we go to the shell, I can run, for example, IP link show. These are all interfaces that I have on this device. There is a loopback interface. The second one, this ENP, is my physical interface. I can see it's up because that's what connects me to my switch. The wireless interface is down because I don't use wireless. Proxmox basically doesn't use wireless. I mean, it can, but you shouldn't really run Proxmox on wireless. And the last one is so-called Linux bridge. But I want to check what is the speed of my physical interface. And it's especially true if you have very fast interface, like 2.5 gig, 5 gig or 10 gig. Then it's even more important. And the tool to check it is called ethtool. So I run ethtool, and it should be installed by default. It only says, but command line argument. For more information, run ethtool h, which we can do. If we do, it shows us all the options. It's too much, let me clear that maybe. But what I basically want to run is, let me run that IP link show again. I simply want to run ethtool for the interface that connects me to my network, which is this one. I copy it, I paste it, and press enter. And that's it. It shows me what are the capabilities of this link. It can run with speed of 10, 100 or 1000 megabits per second. But the most important bit is here, speed and duplex. You always want duplex full, and speed, you want to really have maximum speed that you can achieve on this particular connection. You just have to remember that the fact that your device running Proxmox has, for example, 10 gigabit per second port doesn't mean it will run 10 gigabit per second if it's connected to the switch or to any other device that is not capable of running with that speed, yes? So this connection has to be negotiated between whatever you run your Proxmox on and the next device you connect to. Hope that makes sense. Alright, but that's basically it. But it's very important because it was more than once really. It can be bad cable, it can be sometimes once I had to just reboot the switch I connected to for the link to come up with correct speed. Always good idea to check that. Okay, and the last but not least, the step that I always perform is adding an external storage, which I mean like for example NFS storage. If we go here to the data center, if we go to the storage, here you've got already two items available. This is basically my SSD drive that is inside the mini PC that I run this Proxmox on, but you should always think about some kind of backup that is outside of this box, which will make it very easy to restore everything in case something goes wrong on this box. And it's very easy to add. For example, here you've got this add button and you can add many different, like you've got dedicated Proxmox backup server. If you have that, if you can run that on something, that is the best choice, I think. But you can connect to ZFS over SCSI, or for example, in my case, I can connect to my NFS. NFS is, this is my NAS, simply, this is my Ugreen NAS. And if I go to control panel, to my file service, I've got Samba configured, but I also have NFS service configured. By the way, sometimes people ask, shall I run Samba or NFS? Well, you can run both, it's not a problem. You can test, for example, what works better for you. Samba usually works better with Windows, NFS with any Linux systems. But what I mean, it's possible to run both to the same location, yes? That's what I have generally here. I've got NFS enabled, so now, because this is my IP address of this NAS, 1225, so I can simply configure it here. I can call it shared or whatever. The IP of the server, 168.1.2.5, and then whatever your, I don't want to talk about NFS in details, but whatever you have configured, you can then use it, for example, for disk image. It's chosen by default, but you can add ISO images. You can keep container templates or backups, and backups are actually the most important, I would say. You can add more items here, yes, to that external storage, which is very handy when especially when something goes wrong here. You've got an NFS version here as well, you can choose. And if we double check, what do I have? I can't remember. Advanced. Okay, I've got max NFS protocol. I don't have minimum. So yes, we can leave it as a default. That's not a problem. But what I mean, you've got many different options to configure external storage. Don't rely on internal storage. I'm not saying you have to use NFS or Samba. You can use any of those options, yes? Just use them, simply. Proxmox backup server being, the best one. Okay, that's all I wanted to say today, really. I hope that's helpful, and thank you for watching.